everyone, welcome to today's Altcoin Bible. Got a ripper for you today. I'm going to cover Pepe, Litecoin, and AI tokens Singularity or AGIX. Let's crack straight in because I want to get this line out. My first one here is good old Pepe. And guys and girls, this frog is fried in my view. It looks absolutely horrible. That meme mania is absolutely gone out of the market. I was talking about it all through here after this, just this pulse up and this fall away. I'm like, yeah, it's probably going to have a bit of a dead cat bounce off a support level it finds as people just rush in and try and bounce this, back to some previous levels above and create this moving up. The problem with Pepe and other coins that have just come on the market, and if you're looking at meme coins, is they're relying on new people coming in and relying on, that new buyer to just keep propelling the market higher. And these older holders and early adopters, relying on them not to suddenly dump all their holdings, which they got much, much lower, and they can cause havoc when the price starts to go higher. So this was just a natural thing that you will see in charts, all through these different cycles. And, Pepe didn't have any previous price data going back, so very difficult to assess, support levels and whatnot. So super high risky. Not only that, but it's a, meme token, not in a bull market. So once that hype is over, it very quickly just, it's over. So we're just having a look here. So I've just drawn, and what I'll do is as well, I'll draw this pattern that, is very clearly identifiable here. This is a descending wedge. So you've got a couple of peaks here, wick, and just each time we're moving down underneath this line, these highs are getting lower. So the bouncing ball is just weakening each time. And as it weakens, it's getting, it's hitting that bottom level. It's hitting the bottom level. And each time it hits this bottom level where it's getting bought, each time maybe getting lower, the buyers are lessening and sellers are increasing because they're starting to get a bit worried. Traders are going, okay, well, this isn't really shooting higher anymore. I might need to just exit my position if X level gets taken out. And that's kind of what we saw, up here. We saw a little bit of a recovery, but this was the previous sort of low here. See that wick there, wick. And it was bouncing on here, holding for a little while, couldn't really do it. Then it breached down, found this new low here, tried to recover, again, ran into that trend line. Couldn't really stay on top of the 21 moving average either. And this is the most recent one. And this, I think, is quite consequential that it's broken down fully from here. It had the breakdown, had the retest, and then the full-on loss of this level. There's still a little bit of volume down here because of this sort of buy up over here. But we're going to see this really test out some levels a bit lower. I think, 100 there, whatnot. It's really up to you whether you think Pepe is a decent investment here. I just can't see it in this type of the market. It's a high risk play, of course, very speculative. If you want to have some meme exposure in your portfolio, Pepe could be, another Dogecoin, Shiba Inu, XRP, all that. So, something you could look at. Just looking at the RSI, it's really getting into those oversold levels, which we saw down here. Stock RSI is absolutely abysmal. So you could make an argument that it's trying to create this sort of higher low situation here where you just bounce in, this one's higher and it's sort of hugging this area. So look, this could absolutely, bounce out of here for sure. But you just got to be very, very careful because right now it's broken down from this key support and it's trying to find this new low. There was something else I wanted to say with Pepe. I think that's it, but it's my danger zone there for obvious reasons, I've just outlined. So be very, very careful with this one here. It's bugging me. I reckon there was something else I wanted to say. Oh, yes, now I remember. Thank goodness. So there is another tool that you can use. And again, the price history here is just non-existent. So it's very difficult to know if this is going to adhere to it, but I'm just going to draw the Fibonacci retracement from the low to this peak up here, just to give us an idea of where things might go. So the case for the bulls here, in case for the investors here, is yes, momentum is, both of them are looking pretty bottomy, and also this is hitting the 0.786, and it's wicked all the way down. So this is the 78% retracement level from that high. It's definitely a really nice spot to to move into a position. Excuse me. And we've had that wick down, and now this this next candle here is trying to retest it again. If it can hold here, then yeah, Pepe might be a reasonable play here for a trade or whatnot. But yeah, when it loses this level, it's it's gonna fall, and you're gonna really you're catching a falling knife. So you really want to wait till one of these levels starts to hold before you get interested again. But very easy as my danger zone this week. Right, Litecoin. It has been my cherry ripe one to watch off and on so often, and it is here again. I'm not going to give you guys just a random coin that I think might look good. Litecoin just continues to look fantastic, and that is because of its relative strength. Now, I'm on the 4-hour, but let me just go to the daily, and then I might go back in, show you this broader trend or this broader pattern that's developing into this Litecoin halving that's happening in August. So we see it ran up to 100, came down, retested, dropped below the 200-day moving average, ran back up to 100, back down to this level here. So higher low. So you can see here, low, higher low, made a higher low there on top of the 200-day moving average, which I absolutely love. And now we're into this sort of ascending triangle pattern, which I think we're getting close to that next go at 100, and then potentially the breakout, because we're getting towards the end of this pattern, which is very, very interesting to me. But just super, super important that Litecoin is on every one of its day moving averages, the 200, the 21, the 50, the 100, and the 21's about to cross over with the 100 and the 50. There's not a lot of charts that look like this right now. This looks in a really positive state. It's challenging the local highs over here. It's had that extra drawdown. If we draw the Fibonacci retracement, just quickly roll over that, came back down to 0.618 there, wicked down, bulls really came hard there and drove it back up from that 200. Love to see it, and now it's moving higher. So let's go down to the 4-hour and just have a look. And if I didn't mention it, it is my cherry ripe already. But yeah, that's how it's looking now. This is what you want a chart to do. If it's going to, have that the dip, and then it's going to move higher than this previous local high. This is what you want to see, that really strong move from bulls, reclaim these key moving averages through here. So this box here is just a liquidity zone. This is where it needed to crack through because of this liquidity over here. You can see on the bars on the right hand side, and also because of these moving averages, it was a real strong area which Litecoin needed to recover through. Now that it's done that, and it's just looks climbing a wall of worry, and I love that saying. When you see it just grind up, take those moving averages out, it's now in a key area for mine because it's in this new band. You could almost draw this new another rectangle here just to highlight where the liquidity is concentrated in this area. So you can see up here, all on the left-hand side, before we had that big just evisceration, that breakdown. Now we've grinded back above it. So we're back above this volume cluster over here. And now we're starting to grind higher again. I love it. I absolutely love what I'm seeing here. This is cherry ripe, and Litecoin consistently looks like a winner, to be honest. And you can draw, a rough pattern there, but you can just see what I'm getting at. It's starting to move into a new pennant, new triangle that's trying to break up towards 100. Now, if it does, I think it will. Now, as well, I'll just probably put, the buy zones on everyone's radar. If you think this is going to go low and you want, a chance to buy this at Bitcoin Nukes and whatnot, then you really have to be looking at, where's the concentration of moving averages? And I'm looking at the 4-hour because we've seen recently the 4-hour is probably the best time frame to look at in terms of price respecting moving averages on the 4-hour. Daily's fantastic, gives you a lot of data, but it's a little bit lagging. You want a bit more more recent, where are the areas where it could bounce really quickly and you might miss it on the daily. If I'm looking here, the confluence of moving averages in this area here, so 90 to 89, it's not very far down from where price action is at 92. 89, 89.9, you've got the 21 here. So all through this area, you've got this volume just stacked in the middle at 89, and I'd probably look at that there because that's the 21 or the 20 moving average just in there. Really nice at 90. You're sitting on all this volume here. I mean, if you lose that, it's probably going down to 88, 87. It's really not that far, but that's where the volume clusters are. And the moving averages here, of course, are the 100 and the 50. So this little area in here is quite nice as well. In terms of where this goes into the halving, it is historically always run the year before Bitcoin, and it's about 64 days before the halving. Generally, it tops out about 50. Doesn't mean it's going to repeat exactly the same. I don't think it will. I think we're going to see a bit of a run. We might have the drop. Then we might have another run after the halving as well. Absolutely possible. But previously we've seen buy the rumor, sell the news. The 200-week moving average, this is why it can't penetrate 100. At least it's had trouble penetrating the $100 level. It's because where the 200-week moving average sits at $100, around 100, 101, 102. So it just runs into just major resistance above. I think it's going there at some point, and that's the crucial level. Whether Litecoin runs to 130, 150, it all depends on how it tackles this level and with what conviction. There's every thought it's not going to, none of these levels rip through first go. It could absolutely do something like this, grind, and then it just doesn't contend with it straight away. You got to wait for that contraction and then the blitz through if that level wants to go. So that's what I'm looking at for the bears here. The one thing that I'd be concerned in terms of bullish momentum continuing, and maybe we're seeing a bit of a drawdown here, is that the momentum on the RSI is beginning to break down a little bit. So bulls really want to rescue this. Stock RSI looks pretty horrible. RSI sort of rolling over here. So I would not be surprised to see us dip back into this lower 90 level before maybe another run higher. We're seeing that a lot with these coins that are showing relative strength. They are refueling before they're going higher a lot, but the bounces are being bought up quite heavily. So that's what I'm focused on. That's my cherry ripe. All right, AGIX. So the AI narrative is absolutely enormous right now in major markets. We see NVIDIA absolutely flying, and a lot of other large tech stocks, Google, Microsoft and whatnot, with a lot of their AI offerings and what they're promising in the future. NVIDIA, of course, is a graphics card manufacturer and company that specializes in that, and they're really riding the AI gravy train, just shot up to a new all-time high. But what I'm looking at here is AGIX. This is, I guess, that if you're going on CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko, you get the index of all the AI tokens. AGIX is at the top. It's the top market cap. Last time I checked anyway, it could have changed, but that's the top. So people see that, they look at it, they wonder why that is, but generally it's got the highest liquidity. It's on all the major exchanges. So that's where a lot of the capital does go. Now, AGIX has had a pretty nice run, I would say, based off a lot of the AI stuff out in the ecosystem at the moment, as I just spoke about. So 32% up from that low, also had a nice run from the original low as well. But I think we just need to be careful that we're not suckered into the FOMO of just AI and everyone just buys that things are going to go up. This market environment still does not suggest we're in a bullish, massively bullish environment. It doesn't mean this isn't a great investment for the next bull cycle, and it is showing some relative strength, and it is my one to watch. But I want to just caution everyone not to get suckered in. Don't feel that FOMO, because I think this actually falls over a little bit here. I'm seeing a pretty obvious bear diversion. So you can see here the RSI, this peak over here, and these peaks on the right hand side are much lower than this left peak over here, which means that the buying strength is starting to weaken quite obviously. But on the price chart, prices actually on the peaks is getting higher and higher and higher. So that is a bearish divergence where bears are slowly taking over, but price is higher. So generally after that, it rolls over. Stock RSI looks pretty weak as well. Looks like it wants to flush out. And the obvious buy zone for, in my view, for AGIX is this level here at the bottom of this liquidity zone, and on top of the 200 and the 50 on the 4 hour. That just makes a ton of sense. So that'd be at, I think, what, 28 cents, 29 cents. It's going to get there in my view. And it could get a little bit deeper as well, maybe 27.8 or something like that, but not too far down. That's my view. That's my one to watch, because I think this goes much higher in the midterm. So definitely one to watch. Guys, I hope you have enjoyed this altcoin Bible. As always, I have an absolute blast. Catch you again for our next session. Bye.